We are in Simon Rish Aleph Sif Chof. Bor shehu male mayim sheuvim. A bor which is full of mayim sheuvim. Va'ama nichneses lo. Right, and there's a large rainstorm, and there's a big stream of water, which goes into it, which is kosher for a mikvah. We're going to talk about which when it's ashbar, it is kosher for the mikvah. Meaning the water is not shuvin, and it goes into this water. The yotzis mimenu, and then it goes in and comes out. The oilam hu pisulo ad shiyischashev shelo nisharu mehashuuvim shayir bor shlo Lugin. It is going to be it's going to be puzzle until we cheshbin that the water kicked, like sort of overflowed, and the Mayin Sheuvin was washed out, and the Mayin Sheuvin was washed out, and there wasn't even and when there's not even Gimel Lugin left in the bor. What the cheshbin is over here, the Shach discusses. There's two ways to understand when the water goes in and it attaches. Let's say yesh bila, it mixes with the water inside the sheuvim. So then that which comes out is either mechta, either it is going to be, we say it's chetzi. Each drop of water that comes out is going to be is half shuvim and half tahirim, or the cheshbin is the fee, how much water goes in and how much water is going in and how much water is going out, whatever rov is. And the Shach says we're machmer for both. So let's say there's rov sheuvim, so therefore we're going to be machmer and say, okay, let's say we make a cheshbon that there's the amas hamayim going through is a third of the sheuvim. So then we say, okay, you have to wait until the fi cheshbon that, let's say 40, it's 3 times a barim sa. That's gonna, the water that that much water is gonna have to go in and come out till we say that it's that the shuvim is out. On the other hand, if there's more made tahara, there's more mayim from the amma which goes in. So, and let's say there's let's say it's a big flood and it's only the mayim shuvim is a third. This is a case of where it's not about sorry, but let's say there's a third of the amount of the sheuvim to the amount of water going in. So then we say mechza or machver to say mechza that it doesn't go out faster. We still cheshbon only that you have to wait till it's double. Al Kopanim. The Shach points out that this flew out and it came out. Right, and this is talking about a bor which is a barim sa. If there's more, then you have to cheshbon, the however much is in there. If there's 1,000 sa in there, it's a swimming pool. Then you're gonna have to wait a long. You're gonna need wait a long time for the water to. Again, unless it's a mayan we had before. If it's not a river, if it's a mayan, then it's matar immediately when it goes in. That's something else. The Shach says, however, that's where water flows in. But if you go ahead and you take a bucket and you're trying to drain a mikvah, a puzzle, let's say it became puzzle, whatever it is, it became shuvim, and you're taking it, you're draining it by hand. So then this doesn't. There's no coolers. And we don't say once you take it, that you take it out. It's he says there's no. You have to take everything out. It says that let's say what happened was Vikani nearly Menakin Mikva Nifsal Gimel Lugin Mayim. Let's say they're mechaser the mikvah, and then the gimel mayim Sheuvin falls in, right? So im yotzim mimenu yoytziv mima shehayu b'shasha naflu. We don't say, well, okay, gimel lugim fell in, so you just need to go ahead and take out that gimel lugim, and we toilet on the gimel lugim that we say, okay, or let's say part of the cheshbon, a little bit more than gimel lugim, and we say, okay, that the fi cheshbon it came out. Right? We don't say that. It's more like toilim, like we had the case of tarovis, where if one thing fell out, so then we toilet on that. So it's over here. Also, it's more like, maybe we could say that, just like we say when the amma is nichneses, the amma goes in, that part of the Sheuvin goes out with it. So why don't we say that by if he's taking the water out? And so the Shach says, "V'lo reisi Rabbi Yisai noagim kain." I never saw my poskim noagim like that, and they hold that you have to take it out until the last drop. It shouldn't be, and you even have to dry it to be sure there's no. Again, I mentioned this yesterday that if there's, we'll see it more in Shulchan Aruch. If there's gimel lugim in the mikvah, even it's even mitzdarif, if there's drops of water all around the mikvah, it can be mitzdarif unless you can figure out exactly. So the minig is in the Shach says that you have to dry the mikvah up completely, and then you can refill it, because maybe the gimel lugim was left at the end. So then we're only kosher. So therefore we need to dry it out. So too when they, again, nowadays that's what they do when they drain mikvahs, is that they go in and dry it out also. Again, it's extra shash. This really only applies if gimel lugim fell in, but al kapanim, they always, we try to do mikvaos, at the for any chashashos. Chaf Aleph, mikvah shenafa l'socha mayim Sheuvin. Let's say the mayim Sheuvin fell into it, v'nifsal. V'achar kach riba alav mayim ksherim. Right. So afterwards, you just marbe mayim ksherim. It wasn't an amma which came in and went out. You just added a lot of water to it. Meaning you had a very large bore. Let's say you had 100 saw, whatever it is, bore. And let's say there's there was less than 40 and gimel lugim fell in, it passed the water. So now you want to just go ahead and be marbe the ksherim on top of it, double it, whatever you want to, or even more than double it. You fill the rest up. Ashenim to ksherim arba'im sa, until you have a arba'im sa of the ksherim. Harehu bepisuloi. That's puzzle until you get all the water out of it. Right, that's what I mentioned. And it has to get down to the point where there is not even gimel lugim. In asa mikvah. That's the minig. That's the minig. I mean, I don't know. But Sfardim do. I don't know if there's a difference. And if you make a mikvah that has a b'ayim sa mayim ksherim, for ivu in a mikvah is that, and you just say you mixed it somehow, you made it so it pours into it. Not hashaka, or it could be we'll get into hashaka. Ivu in mikvah hazeh hapasul taru elu is elu, then it does become tohor. And there's also an idea where again that it's also let's say it's what's called zriya, right? Zriya is what I mentioned the Rosh, and zriya is an idea that explained it properly yesterday. That when you have a mikvah kosher, and you could say you pour water into it, it becomes like groundwater, like kilo you're planting it. It becomes the mayim Sheuvin becomes it becomes like groundwater, and therefore it's kosher. So over here also, if you attach it, whether it's with shaka, whether it's through zriya that flows over, or whether somehow or other, let's say it's higher up and you open the side and it flows in, whatever it is, it's going to go ahead and be mitaher that water because of zriya. Also, if you have a mayan, that's like I mentioned, that's mitaher no matter what. So either the way to matar mikvah sheuvin is either to attach it to a kosher mikvah or to attach it to a kosher mayim. Chafez. Haya ha-mikvah chasar gimel lugim. If the mikvah was missing gimel lugim, v'naflulo gimel shlosha lugim mayim she'uvim, and three lugim, which I looked up, is around 3.5 liter, a little bit less, 3.4, 5, 8, I don't know, something like that. It's a little bit less than 3.5 liters. Lo'oilahu bisulo ad sheyubu olav megishamim. It's possible until there's the roiv of megishamim. Now this is different than we had before, that it was mayim sheuvim. That was, let's say before it was like, it was like 30, the last sif, let's say it was 30 saw, and the mayim sheuvim fell in. This is a case where it's just gimel lugim, and you're talking about just the gzeir of gimel lugim, so there's more of a kula that lo bisulo ad sheyubu olav megishamim, or shishtafu olav mayim ksherim, or let's say you did through zriya, or however you did it, mayim ksherim ad kadei shenishar shenaflu olav b'milu amarisha. So by gimel lugim, which passes a mikvah, there we're makel that if let's say again they have a bore of 100 saw. And the gimel lugim, and you had 40 minus gimel lugim sheuvim fell in, and now it's 40 saw mayim psulim, and then you fill it with mayim ksherim until actually shenishar shenaflav b'miluan, another 40 miluan harishon v'oid. You put in here you'd only need to put in 40 saw and a bit more. Okay, but the case is a little bit more. Let's say there's a drain pipe. Let's say it comes out of the mikvah. Not that it is 100 saw. Right, we're talking about it's still a 40 saw mikvah, and you're pouring in mayim ksherim. If it's only the gimel lugim, then we just need that 40 saw and a bit more go out, and that we're making. The mine that goes in pushes out the mine that's inside. If the mikvah was less than 40 and a little bit less, even a teaspoon, and mayim shuvim less than gimel lugim went into the mikvah, lo paslu, lo ichshiru. It does nothing. All right? If it's chaser gimel lugim, then it passes it. If it's only chaser a little bit, then it doesn't do anything. Keitzad arehu b'bisuloi anshiradu alav megishamim. So how do you fix the mikvah? It's possible until megishamim fall on it, or yishishtafu kishir mayim shayachaser, and then you just need to put in. You need to fill in. If it's a quarter, so you need a teaspoon of mayim ksherim to go in. Mayim shechaser love make it shot right. Kosher hayachaser feel a quarter of nafal l'suchon gimel lugim mayim. If it was chaser, even a quarter of and gimel lugim fell in, pasluhu, then it passes it. Rehu pisulo ad sheyatzu menu milu va'od. Then we go back to the first din in the sif that you have to pour in 40 plus mayim. Haga, b'davka b'shlosha lugim sheuvim machshivin amikhay gavna. We're only talking of this whole sif of gimel lugim is only talking about where you have gimel lugim of mayim sheuvim. Aval im haisakula sheuva, if the whole mikvah was sheuva, afil nasan alav ad sheyatzu kedei milua, even if you poured into the mikvah. 40, 41 saw, whatever it is. Lo mahani, it doesn't work. Elo machashvin amayim shayotzim fi erech haksherim v'hapsul. That's what I mentioned before. That it's either we're machmer, either it's chetzi or depending on rov, depending which is more machmer in the situation. Now there's the chashash deraisa here because of kares and all these things, so that's why they're more machmer. 41,
but 81 would.
Yeah. Chav Gimel. Ein shloisha lugim poisim ela im ken yu shleimim. Gimelugim only apostles if they're full gimelugim. Umarehim maramayim, and they look. Hmm. Oh, they made a mistake here. Right, remember this is they printed this wrong. Eli Kane, you Shalmayim. Let me just look this up. Okay, thank you. You Shalmayim, Umareyim Maramayim. There has to be water, and they have to look like water. The Fichach Shlosha Lugin Mayim Shenofa Lusoich Sochan Yayin. If wine fell into the Gimel Lugin Mayim, and it looks, and now it looks like wine. Shenofa Mikvaos, and it fell into the mikveh. Lo pasluhu. Right, we'll see. We're going to see very soon. We're getting into mare and all, and sumare and things like that in the actual mikveh. But in gimel lugim, we're very makel, and that if it doesn't look like water, then it's not going to passel it. Right. So therefore, what about 2 bottles of Coke? Or 3 bottles of Coke fell into a mikveh. Depending if you're in America or here, it depends on the size of the bottle. You have 3.5 liters of Coke, 4 liters of Coke fall into a mikveh. So what's the din of Coke? So I heard from Goldstein, he said Coke does have a din of water, but for Gimel Lugim, it probably doesn't have mare of water. It doesn't have a mare of water. So for Gimel Lugim, it's going to go ahead and it'll probably be okay. If we get into Shinui Mara and the mikvah, we'll talk about that then. Like any soft drink or anything, if you dropped, I guess food coloring into the water, that would also just be. But Tam doesn't make a difference though. In all of Mikvaos, Tam doesn't mishana anything, even by Gimel Lugim. So even if you would put sugar in or salty water, it doesn't, that won't go ahead and ruin, and that won't do anything to Gimel Lugim. V'chein shlosh lugim chaserim, or if it's missing, kol shehu, when not shenafel l'seichan ma'achalov. Let's say a little bit of chalov fell in, v'hishlimu l'shlosh lugim, v'nafel l'mikvah chaser lo pasluhu, because we'll see in Shinui Mara, chalov is not mishana mara. Because it makes it a little whiter. I mean, it still looks like water. If it's we'll get to if it's like full milk. I don't know, but al chobani, a few drops of milk isn't going to go ahead and change the color. So therefore, it's lo paslu because it wasn't full water. It was something else. It was something else falling in. If like vinegar would fall in or anything like that. Then that would white vinegar. I mean, then that wouldn't passel mikvah as well. Chov Dalid may Gimel Lugim wouldn't make the Gimel Lugim, put it that way. If it like some vinegar fell, it was missing a little bit. It wasn't Gimel Lugim, and vinegar fell in. That's not water.
Vinegar that you buy is only 5% vinegar.
Right. Okay, you're right. The vinegar. Fine. So leave vinegar out because it could be that doesn't. You're right. That could be whatever did of water. Yeah.
The vinegar of the days of Yoreh is definitely substantially stronger.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. I was just saying. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. I was just.
But I don't know what today's.
Right. Okay. Fine. So leave vinegar on the side. I was just saying something white. That's not. Milk, right? I'm saying, but if you have some sort of chemical, what? Vodka. Right? Yeah.
Water.
Yeah. Well, no. So you're gonna get to alcohol in a minute. Yeah. Let's see. Chavdalit. Let's see. Make kivashim dishwater. Or laundry water, or maybe pickled water. Sorry, pickles from pickles. Sorry, from pickles, or umeshlakos, or like soup, that type of thing. But temid shilohichmid. Temid was they put water on the grape seeds that were made of wine, that they used wine, that they made wine from those grapes, and there's grape seeds and skins left, and they put water on it. It's called mead. and shelo hichmitz, wasn't machmitz yet. Then it didn't turn alcoholic. V'chein, right? V'chein made seva or die. Poslim is a mikvah b'gimel lugim. They do passel the mikvah with gimel lugim. So now we're going to go back and say, well, the question is, maybe I'm wrong about Coke, because if Coke made seva, it's just the reason it's black is because it's brown, whatever you want to call it, is because it's just food coloring. Aval kol shar mashkim, so it would be an issue.
Not the caramel.
Caramel color is just a dye. It's a dye. It's a food dye.
Finish my bucket.
Right. Aval kol shar amashkim, umei perus, any other drink, umei perus, any other juice, umorais, or it's like fishyoch, v'temet shehichmitz, and alcoholic, something which is alcoholic, so that once it's alcoholic, it's not considered, it's not water anymore.
Alcohol changes the fact.
Yeah, that's water, right. Ein poisa mikvah chaser. They don't pass the mikvah chaser. Not considered water. Begin malugim. V'gam ein mashlime oisa lehechsherei. And it won't, nor will it be machshir the mikvah. Sheim haya lamet hasaim the nafal the soichoi sa'achas me'elu ein mashlime oisa. So if it was chaser and these things fell in, then they're not mashlim the mikvah, right? So we're gonna stop here in the middle of the sif because it goes on to a different nakuda, which is very long. But just the chazer for 1 second. Again, so I mentioned about Coke. So the truth is over here, if Coke is just considered water, so ein echanami, so it could make gimel lugim to pasel, and it definitely won't, but also won't be. But it's not going to end up passing a mikvah, but it could make him a lugim to passel a mikvah. Just going back to be sure I'm clear, because I said it a little bit wrong before. But Akopanim, this is the din, and therefore we'll see about Shini Mare. The next bit is going to talk about this. The next half of the sif is something else.